Hello again YouTube, Mad Dog here, welcome back to my channel. So whilst I'm away, I don't often get opportunities to go for a bit of a walk round like I've got currently. So what I'm going to be doing is just going to go for an amble around the local area where we're currently staying and just have a look for a few wild edibles and plants of worth a mention, let's say, that are useful for edible and resources. So stay with me and we'll have a little stroll around. Okay, so as you can see, hopefully behind me, I'm just having a walk along the riverbank and just spotting some wild edibles and things that could be used as resources if needs be, if you had to, and just basically whiling my time away. Beautiful evening. The river just over here to my right, beautiful. So we'll carry on a bit further up this pathway, and when I come across anything that is deemed worthy of mention, I'll share it with you. Stay tuned. Okay, so here on my left I've got some, as you can see, the giant daisies. Again, another useful plant. This is actually a wild edible. Both the small daisy and the large daisy species are edible. So the flower, the stems and the leaves are all edible. Beautiful looking thing, but just as a quick demo. So here we go. Quite a sweet flavour, not bad. Okay, next to the daisies we also have absolutely loads of thistle. There we go. This is like the milk thistle, very spiky, very thorny, but again the stem, the leaves and the flower pods are all edible, as are the roots. Probably the best bit of this plant is the root system, because it's the highest in carbohydrates. I'm not going to go digging up right now, but there is plenty of it to be had around here that will make easy high calorific subsistence. As you can see, hopefully there is a lot of it around here. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, we also got burdock and dock. Again, another wild edible. Very common over here in the UK, very predominant this time of year. Good antiseptic properties, and without being too graphic, makes ideal sanitary toilet paper to push. Keep yourself clean. So that's another one. Stay tuned. Here we've got some purple clover. Again, very common, very easily identifiable. You know that any of the clovers are safe to eat if the leaves display this small little white chevron. So again, the plant in its entirety can be eaten. I'll try and find a white flowering version to show you the differences. Okay, this little spot's ideal for this. I've got to the left of me some purple clover, and to the right of the pathway the white variety of clover. Again, all perfectly edible, and again showing those distinctive white chevrons, markers on the leaves which indicate that it's edible. Again, the purple clover, where are we? There we go. Little white V-shaped chevrons, also indicating its edibility. So two cousins of the same family, all perfectly edible. Easy life, easy gains. Okay, just quickly adding this one in. Over here is a new sprout of growth of fireweed, and towards the base of the stems you'll see a distinctive purple colour. They're a pithy scented plant. The leaves are slightly furry with a main white vein underneath, and in the autumn they give off a great big plume of like seed pod, which you can use as a flash tinder or insulation. But inside of these, the pithy centre is the jewel of the crown on this plant. If you scrape away the outer bark, and that's perfectly edible. It's like a lettuce stroke cucumber flavour, quite sweet, very palatable. That one's worth remembering. But make sure your ID is correct, because there are imposters, especially this time of year when things haven't fully developed. You know, don't get making yourself ill for the sake of it. That's the fireweed. Again, another easy, readily available wild edible. Before we go a bit any further on, just down here I found another little wild edible. This time I believe this is called the shepherd's purse. Please correct me if I'm wrong, I do apologise, I'm getting old and rusty. But it's quite distinctive. It's easily identifiable by these little heart-shaped leaves, stroke seed pods, and they are all perfectly edible. So you can just grab yourself a handful of that somewhere that's not been on a well-used dog trail, obviously, for obvious reasons, and you can get them straight down you as they are, or you can boil them up again, make them safe and clean. Again, I believe you can eat the roots from these as well with a bit of processing, so I think that was the shepherd's purse. Nice easy ID, wild edible. Okay, so we've got stinging nettle everywhere this time of year, especially after a good heavy downpour. It's absolutely bolted everywhere. So as we all know, stinging nettle and white nettle, which is its closely related cousin but actually doesn't sting, obviously boiled up, you can eat that. The whole plant is edible, great in minerals, vitamins and iron. Good source of protein. You can make some excellent cordage out of stinging nettle, and it is meant to be very high in antioxidizing properties, so a general good health boost. I believe that's why it still remains one of the most popular natural teas to make out in the bush. Beautiful evening, just overlooking farm pasture now. Back on the trail, I've just come out of quite a thick parcel of woodland over there to my west, well, facing west should I say, it's actually my right, and quite dense to get in and out of, but beautiful inside. Nice little stroll around. I'm actually doing a recce, to be honest with you. I'm looking for somewhere to do an overnighter, but up to now everywhere it's pretty boggy underfoot, and I'm looking to do a ground sleep. So I've spotted a little place at the side of the little cabin that me and my missus are staying in, but it is literally just round the corner of the cabin. I was hoping to get a bit further away actually, to be honest, but that's looking best favourite at the moment. Is actually pretty much next door to where I'm currently staying. But I mean, don't get me wrong, this is beautiful, but as you can hopefully see from this video, everything runs downhill into the woods, so it's going to be like mosquito heaven. And you know, being a ground dweller, I've not brought my hammock with me, so it's going to be pretty boggy underfoot. So we'll see. We'll keep looking. See what shows up. Okay, here we've got the blackberry bush or raspberry bush. I can't distinguish between the two at the moment. It's in flower. Obviously later on in the year that will develop into the famous fruit, late summer, autumn. But again, the leaves can be boiled up and are edible and palatable. Obviously you've got to be careful of the prickly spines. But again, the roots and the vines, the actual stems, they make good cordage as well, so that's another one worth remembering. quite common again over here. Nice little tonic, full of vitamin C and good minerals in the blackcurrant and raspberry bushes. So another one worth taking note of. Okay, so here another very common English tree or shrub, and that's the alder. Obviously this time here in bloom, producing the alder flower, which will later become the small purple berries, the elderberry, which can be used for brewing wine or eaten just as they are. The flower is also edible, but a word of warning, the rest of the plant or tree or bush isn't. It is actually quite toxic, so be careful when tackling the alder. Don't get carried away on your munching and start eating the leaves, because they will make you badly. And that's the alder bush. And there is an alder tree obviously as well. If I can find an example, I will show you. Okay, in front of me this time is the alder tree. So I'm just going to pan you up here a little ways and hopefully try and grab this here branch. It's right up here, so just for a bit of leaf ident. And you can see last year's seed pods there. Quite distinctive, like very small cones if you like. But that is actually alder. Let me just take one off. There we go. Okay, there we go. And that's the old seed pod off the alder tree. Another little ways of remembering to ident it. So yeah, it can grow into a substantial tree, and as we all know, alder is very good for fire lighting. So it makes a good bow drill spindle, and in conjunction with a softer hearth board, if it's dry and prepared properly, you can have some success. Okay, so just a bit of a tree ident. Everybody knows this one, but it's the good old English oak. There's quite a lot of that around here, and as we all know, you can use the acorns as a good starchy food with a bit of processing, get rid of the tannins out of it. Again, you can make a good tea out of it, but if you roast it, you can eat the actual grains or use them as a makeshift coffee, which I don't know if any of you guys and lasses have actually tried it. For me, I have tried it, and I'll be perfectly frank and honest, I thought it tasted absolutely bloody nothing like coffee. But that's just me. Maybe I did it wrong. Who knows? Maybe I've overbaked it, you know, over roasted it rather, and I don't know. Probably be okay with a couple of sweeteners added. But just looking through, you can see the silver birch in there. I might be coming back here, collect a bit of tinder, bit of birch bark, especially off dead fallen, where I'm not going to harm or injure current good healthy trees. So yeah, I believe the oak leaf as well, you can actually boil that up with a push. I'll have to recheck my own work on that, but I'm sure that is an edible as well. So anyway, I'm going to continue back, as you can probably hear, back towards the water. There's a waterway running just across here, nice little brook, good place to get some fresh water, which is another video I want to cover, the procurement of water. So I'm not sure if I'll do that on this journey, but I've got the kit with me, so I may well do that. So stay with me and we'll continue our little trek. Okay, so if I just pan you down here a little ways, in front of me there is a great big plumage bush almost of gorse goose. You know, everybody knows this plant, the one that you throw the famous sticky balls at your mate's jumper. Covered in little fine prickly hairs. Obviously that's what makes it stick to fibrous material. However, if you simply take a handful of this stuff and just drag it across your coals or your embers, those little hairs will soon be burnt off, scorched off, making all this perfectly edible. So you can soon gather up a lot of substance quite easily there. Makes a great tea as well, a great tea rather. Better if you boil it down, it makes it more palatable. But yeah, that's another one to remember. Again, very common over in the UK, dead easy ID. easy identifiable. See the little balls just starting to form there. They're edible as well, the little seed pods. Another one worth remembering. Okay, so in front of me I've got a rosehip plant bush, and as it is of the rose family, both the petals and the leaves are all edible, and later on in the year that will form a rosehip. And as we all know, the rosehip flesh is perfectly edible, makes a great tonic tea as well, so that one's worth keeping in the memory banks as well. Nice little bit of pretty to put on your salad. This looks like a good spot actually for a cheeky overnighter, with it having the overhanging main branch there. That would be easy life. Bit of clearing on the ground there, get a tarp set up with the back away from the wind. Might be something to consider. Beautiful place, surrounded by birch here at the moment. Quite a wide variety of trees in this small patch of woodland. There's alder, elm, ash, birch, oak. Very nice. Anyway, let's move on a bit further and see what else we can find. Okay, so I'm heading back towards our little cabin that we're staying at now. I'm back on a higher ridge now. The woodland was over there to the west. And because the shelf does drop off quite steep, all the water's gathered in that woodland and it is quite wet over there. So there's our little blue shed cabin that we're staying at, overlooking the water. So anyway, head back to base, and I'm going to get me some fishing done, a couple of drams, and just chill out. A little bit of sneaky footage before I sign off. Just over there in between the trees, a sneaky glimpse of Mrs. Mad Dog. She won't thank me for this. Oh yeah. Beautiful place. Beautiful evening. Love it. Over here is another common UK wild edible, and this is called the broadleaf plantain. It goes down to a single point root system, which is also edible, high in carbs. You dig the root system out, you've got a good source of carbs there. But all of the actual plant is edible. The fresh spring leaves are the most flavoursome raw, but you can blanch it all. It's all edible. Very easily identifiable, especially later on in the year. It develops a tall singular stem with a bunch of seeds on that, flower heads and seeds. It also produces its sister plant, which is the thin-leafed plantain, which obviously, as the name suggests, is the same family of plant, but the leaves are more blade-like. If I find one of those, I'll add it onto the video. But as you can see, it's very abundant around here. I mean, there's like I'm on a trail that's probably, I don't know, good 5 to 10 miles in length in either direction, and the whole trail is covered in it. So a great form of easy nourishment. That all you'd need is your pocket knife to dig those roots up and you're good to go. So again, that's the plantain. Just moving around to the right before I move on. There is also the beginnings of a chickweed plant here, which, as we all know, is closely related to the dandelion, therefore making it perfectly edible, all of it. So yet again, another one. Another baby oak tree. Right, I'm going to move on. Let's move on a bit further. Okay, so I'm going to finish this little video now. Thank you all very much for coming along for a quick walk round with me. For those of you that are interested, we're staying in Norfolk, on the Norfolk Broads, and the river that's behind me that we're attempting to fish is the River Bure. We've not had much success, to be honest. At the moment I've caught 5 fish, a couple of perch and some roach, and I've also caught an eel, which I'll show in another video. So again, hope you find some of this interesting, if not entertaining, the wild edibles aspect of things. Make sure you do your ID properly. Don't go, if you're in doubt, leave it out. Don't eat anything that you're not sure about. You know, for how many calories you actually gain, it's not worth the risk. So again, thank you all very much for your views, your constant support, and all my new subscribers. Welcome aboard. It's all very appreciated, and until the next time, which won't be long, Mad Dog signing off. Yeah.